Welcome to the ASEAN International Festival with cultural presentations to discussion-style mukbang.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupi, di ka pasisiil. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bugha, may nilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat may tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin at araw niyang kailan ang may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng luwalhati pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga api ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
A pleasant good afternoon to all of you. This Erasmus Plus Friends event is part of an ongoing advocacy to inculcate intercultural awareness and cultural diversity mindset and competency building to all. Friends stands for Furthering International Relations Capacities and Intercultural Engagement to nurture campus diversity and to support internationalization at home. The event today is in cooperation with the SLU School of Advanced Studies, in particular the Asian Management Graduate Class, under the supervision of no other than our resource speaker, Mr. Lee Majors Fagilan. Hence, we shall showcase an ASEAN festival. The theme of this event is capturing the spirit of ASEAN in the digital times. This is in keeping with the prescription of the Commission of Higher Education Philippines to hold activities and implement programs in celebration of the 54th founding anniversary of ASEAN to foster greater awareness of ASEAN and participate in ASEAN community building. Welcome to this event and witness the intercultural awareness and cultural diversity videos of our general contemporary world students and the mukbang presentations that will fill your stomach's delights of our graduate students. Enjoy and have a blast.
To the person watching this, I have a confession to make. I don't have a good story to tell. I could even argue that I don't have a story to tell at all. I've lived most of my life in a town called Kalumpit. I know by heart the streets, the roads, the people, but most of all the vast and green fields. Bukid. Ever since I was young, this is where you'll find me. Rolling through hills of mud, climbing trees, walking long paths. I found comfort in those things. And they have become so familiar to me that I wanted nothing more than to keep it that way always. Even as I grew older, I would still look up at the sky from there and think that that was my whole world. I could be alone and I would be okay. But when the pandemic came, I didn't realize how gravely it would affect me to be stuck here while all the uncertainties are happening at almost every corner. I felt trapped and lonely, and I wanted nothing more than to leave. Find people to talk to and share my struggles with. So, I resorted to the internet, and from there I found an app that lets you write letters to people from all parts of the world. After some time, I was exchanging letters to quite a few from the UK, the US, Japan, Russia, New Zealand, and other provinces in my country. These people shared with me how things are done in their country, how their beliefs and values came to be, what it was like in their day-to-day. I was surprised to realize that a stranger from so far away was genuinely willing to share with me a piece of who they are and what their story is. the pen pals I wrote to and still write to this day helped me see the bigger picture. I learned about the interaction of the people, the language, the culture, the society. I learned how to communicate better and slowly take down the barrier I set for myself. And ultimately, they helped me embrace pursuing a profession that would allow me to meet new people of different backgrounds and upbringing. I realized that life is more than where you are right now, and we must find it in ourselves to grow and branch out. Someday soon, I would leave my town, carry my home with me, and share it with everyone and everything I encounter. Now, I look up at the same sky and know that the whole world is beyond this, and it's every bit worth exploring. So wherever you are in the world, I hope I get to meet you and I hope you get to be part of my story. I told you at the beginning of this video that I don't have a story. I don't because mine has just begun.
Cultural diversity is present in every continent. We experience cultural diversity in some ways that we don't even notice. Cultural diversity is the status of a community wherein there are more cultural groups and different races in one certain place. But the relevance of cultural diversity in our lives is to share what our culture has to offer, to embrace our traditions and practices, to embrace our different cultures, and to embrace our differences. I have always wanted to experience different cultures and different traditions from different countries. My grandparents told me about the lessons they've learned, and it's that witnessing other culture makes us understand our culture even more. But then I realized real and true diversity is created when people have their own heritage, beliefs, races, and traditions without a conflict within. Although I have no experience with leaving the country, my mom has shared with me visions of what cultural diversity is in other countries. She told me these three exact words, which are extraordinary, fun, and an eye-opener. As we continue our journey, our experiences serve as our training ground in preparation for our future. We try new food, we travel different places, and we connect to different people to cure our ignorance. We may have various cultures, have different preferences, but at the end of the day, our cultural diversity is the foundation of our unity.
In a world as complex as ours, many factors shape us, and culture is a powerful force that acts on us. To interact with other people from other cultures different from our own can be a challenge. When we participate in groups, we are often surprised at how differently people express themselves. When I was in junior high school, one of my friends invited me to attend their fellowship called Thank God It's Friday, or commonly known as TGIF. I enthusiastically accepted this invitation. I have also asked some of my friends to be with me, and eventually, when we were at the venue, to my surprise, I have seen people from different countries. I was excited to join this fellowship because I will know and interact with people from different cultures. We had a small activity, and everybody gets to share something about themselves. I have known that some came from Myanmar, while others from Laos, Indonesia, Africa, and South Korea. As we are sharing, I have noticed how each one of us is different from one another. Starting from the way we dress, how we talk, the loudness of our voices, body languages, and gestures, differences are evident. Some of them are very direct, vocal, and loud when they talk, unlike us who often communicate indirectly. Talking to them in English is not just the case. I need to know how they speak and move so that in turn I may adjust to communicate with them well without me offending or insulting them. I attended this said event for the first time, but it did not end there. Every last Friday of the month, I anticipated joining the fellowship again to know more about these people from different countries. For 2 years attending this fellowship, we learned so much about each other's cultures. We get to share something about our own lives, beliefs, and traditions. From this experience, I have acquired many skills. I learned to adjust to other people so that we may interact with each other well. I learned to appreciate our differences. That despite these differences, we still aim to be one. I have gained intercultural understanding and awareness, which is crucial for breaking down various cultural barriers. I have developed my understanding, respect, and sensitivity towards other people from other cultures. Ultimately, these values increase social, academic, and intercultural competencies, leading to success in this interconnected world.
I am Fatima, and I love traveling. Internationally, I have been to places like Hong Kong and Singapore, two Chinese-speaking countries that captured my heart. In Hong Kong, I went to Hong Kong Disneyland that made me enter and enjoy the Disney World, and Mongkok that made me wander around the local markets and explore Hong Kong culture through its products and goods. Next, I discovered Hong Kong cuisine. In Singapore, the first thing that I did is to eat Singaporean foods at a public cafeteria. And of course, to eat my favorite ice cream wafer. Next, I went to Marina Bay Sands and experienced the nightlife in Singapore. Then, I explored the cities in Singapore's metropolis. After that, I went to Universal Studios. Here, I rode roller coasters at the Hollywood Boulevard. Locally, I have been to places like Palawan and Cebu. In Palawan, I went to a lot of caves and islands with my relatives. I also noticed that almost everyone there was speaking in Bisaya dialect, which made me have had a hard time communicating. In Cebu, the first thing that I did is to go to the beach. Of course, with my family. I even did snorkeling. Next, I went to the highlands and see the majestic view of Cebu. It seemed that I can reach the clouds. Next, I went to a museum. Then, to several churches and temples. I even get to see the Mactan Cross. Like in Palawan, I also observed the language difference. So long, farewell, because I'm off to see the world. In different places, in different seasons, in different cultures, in different experiences. I am Fatima, and I love traveling.
We start our day early just as the sun comes up. It is a new day of kicking my sleep off with a warm cup. By the time the sun has illuminated all the land, we are ready to set out on our journey, not that far beyond. Home looks like this. We are almost always greeted by a warm breeze's kiss. It is a sight I could never get tired of. I wouldn't change a thing about it, for whatever the cost. A bit farther away from home, we went for a visit at a friend's place. She led the way for us to follow, trying to keep up with her pace. Before we formally set out in our journey, we must be equipped and be ready. So after learning bits of information and a little stretching, our friend happily called out, "Let's get going!" Just like the hike, understanding another's culture is the same. We need to put in our effort and not take it lightly like a game. Some of the steps we took made us stumble along the way, but we learned our lessons and made sure that within us it stays. The view is breathtaking, but we are far from done. Learning is a process, and as young as we are, it has only begun. Just like how we can tell which things to point out and appreciate, the rocks and blocks that hinder us from progress, we deviate. We made it to our destination, and I tell you, it was worth it. We can flow with the water and keep up with the rapids. With knowledge from along the way we picked, a few more times of practice, we would definitely get used to it. But at the end of the day, there really is no place like home. So we must not forget our roots, where we all hail from. Things would change like how the sky changes colors, but our identity remains the same, for it is what we can truly call ours.
Lee Majors Pagilan is a hotelier, professor, and world traveler. He finished his bachelor's degree in hotel and restaurant management at the Polytechnic University of the Philippines in Manila, Master of Management degree at the University of the Philippines, Baguio, and currently finishing his PhD studies at St. Louis University. He is a customer service management and business development consultant for hotels, resorts, restaurants, schools, and even hospitals. He was the hotel operations and development consultant for Lafayette Luxury Suites Hotel and Resort and currently works in 2 upcoming beachside resorts. As an academician, he was chosen as one of the 10 outstanding hospitality and tourism educators in Baguio in 2013. A multi-awarded hotelier, he was a pioneer of the Discovery Hotel Group, started as guest services associate, and worked his way up to the corporate ladder. He is the Public Relations Officer and a member of the National Board of Directors at the Council of Hotel and Restaurant Educators of the Philippines and was a director for schools in the Hotel and Restaurant Association of Baguio. He teaches French, Asian, and international management in graduate school and hotel and tourism management subjects in undergraduate studies at St. Louis University. He is a proud plant daddy, photographer, blogger, motivational speaker, environmental advocate, COVID-19 survivor, and a certified guest services professional trainer at the American Hospitality Lodging Educational Institute and Asia World Hospitality. He has been to 85 countries and territories and over 300 cities worldwide. He dreams of visiting all 196 countries within the next 10 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lee Majors Pagilan.
Good day to all of you friends from around the world. It is an honor to be invited as a guest speaker to the ASEAN International Cultural Festival. My name is Lee Majors Fajilan. Together with my students in Asian Management in the School of Advanced Studies of St. Louis University, we are excited of what we can contribute to this event. And with our small presentations, we hope that somehow we have become an instrument in sharing the importance of understanding, acceptance, and learning. I am truly privileged to talk about a topic that is something very close to my heart, and that is multicultural diversity. I love diversity. I can't imagine the world without diversity. Can you? Where everything is the same, where all the colors, hues, and textures, sights, and tastes are the same. Can you imagine a world like that? Hence, this topic is rather timely. The whys and wherefores of diversity is something that all of us must really know, that all of us must appreciate, that all of us must embrace. It's just something that I really enjoy. But probably my favorite title is Being a Traveler. Modesty aside, I've been to about 85 countries and territories around the world. I have stepped through all habitable continents in the world. I've been through North America, South America, Europe, Africa, and Asia. Hopefully, I get to step in Antarctica, but that is something that I really have to work hard on. But, the concept of traveling has made me more accepting. Okay? Truly traveling is the best teacher for me in my books. I have seen some parts of the world that is completely different from mine. I have seen the peak of the highest mountain in the world, of course, through an airplane. And I have seen the lowest of lows. I've seen poverty in places in the world that you couldn't imagine. And you thought the Philippines has some of the dirtiest slums in the world. You haven't seen the world if you think that Philippines is poor. It opened my eyes to a wide array of realizations, various considerations. It opened a new perspective that leaned towards kindness, humbleness, and understanding. Through enough traveling has taught me acceptance and reverence for other people. Sadly, despite all these wonderful experiences that traveling can bring, I have felt discriminated too. I have felt unaccepted throughout my travels. I have seen how people react to my color, my weight, my gender, and my religious beliefs. And it wasn't a good feeling. Reverse the situation and consider yourself someone who discriminates people through the color of their skin. You frown upon their abilities because they are old. You judge their actions because they are gay or lesbians. You ridicule their beliefs because you always think yours is the one that is correct. How would you feel knowing that you get to hurt people because of the actions you thought nobody cared? Well, people cared. People that surround me discriminate sometimes. I remember someone telling me, "You're going to South Africa? Oh, wow, be careful. Oh, you're heading to Cambodia? Oh, be careful. Oh, you're going to Myanmar? Oh, be careful." Believe me when I say that these countries mentioned are just home to some of the most beautiful and kindest people on earth. You never get to experience culture unless you go to that place. You never get to know people and to correct all of your notions and perceptions unless you get to meet them. The topic of diversity has to be discussed over and over and over again until it has become second nature. Acceptance becoming second nature. A household name in terms of understanding. Let us start by defining what diversity means. Diversity is defined as the differences between people. Diversity can be real or perceived differences between people. What you think is your perception, right? These differences include, but are not limited to, race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, and yes, even socio-economic status. In a diverse world, people acknowledge the differences that exist among individuals. I always say in my class, or every time the topic of discrimination arises, that the last people who should discriminate others are the Filipinos. Why? Because we are all over the world. We can be found everywhere, even at the most secluded places or areas where you least expect to see a Filipino. Believe me, suddenly somebody will call you or tap your shoulders and say, Kabayan. Well, for those who doesn't know what kabayan means, it's a local term for somewhat close to fellow countrymen. Okay? And then chit-chats will ensue. You know how Filipinos are? Wherever you are in the world, suddenly you become personable and ask, oh, what do you do here? Who are you with? Are you married? Are you single? You know, something like that. We are all over, and yet when you go through the social media posts, we discriminate others like there's no tomorrow. We have names for things. We have names for people. We have terms that completely discriminates others because of who they are. We come up with memes and brown jokes and other things that could truly hurt other people. We dismiss it by saying taba ng utak ng Pinoy, you know, but in essence, funny as it may sound, they are discriminating others subliminally. Does that mean it has become our second nature? I hope not. So let's just try to reevaluate ourselves and ask, are we accepting of diversity? Are we accepting of other people without commenting regarding the color of their skin and all of the things that I have just mentioned? Ask yourselves. We have become so diverse primarily because people around the world could not stop moving. Have you heard the term migration? Like it has been going on for quite some time now, that sooner or later there will be more Filipinos in California than any other nationality, perhaps, unless Mexicans would migrate to California. In Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States, I know there are so many Filipinos already that in the next few generations, I believe, with the rate that we give birth to children, there'll be a lot of Filipinos abroad than here in the country. You know, that's not something that is impossible. We transfer to places, we exchange citizenships, interracial marriages happen. The letters of LGBTQ added so many alphabets already. It has now become LGBTQIA plus. Even our religions, you know, they modify and gives birth to a variety of sects and denomination. Even our emotional state has become a subculture, like being emo. All right. Other deviants included what we had before, those hippies, the goths, the skinheads, the bikers. Having said all of this, I really look forward to the day where everyone accepts everyone for being who they are. Of course, it is always easier said than that. But what is easier, you know? To say nothing if you have nothing good to say. Multiculturalism is more complex than simply noticing the diversity or differences that exist in a particular society. Multiculturalism focuses on being inclusive, understanding, respecting, and acknowledging an equal power in our society. Furthermore, people are aware of the advantages or disadvantages of being in a particular race, you know, gender, sexual orientation, religion, or socioeconomic status. In a multicultural world, this is true, you know, this is true in a lot of other industries. When you go to Dubai, you know, there are Filipinos, Sri Lankan, Indian, Pakistani, Egyptian, Arabs working together, hopefully in a very good harmony. I'm referring to that I can always relate to the hotel industry. I would remember my aunt, she's a manager of housekeeping at the Marriott Hotel in San Francisco, and she would always tell me that it's quite difficult to manage a housekeeping department that is so diverse, that there's so many cultures working together. We're trying to achieve a certain goal in the organization, and that is satisfy our guests. But in that organization, you have Mexican, Honduran, Puerto Rican, Filipinos, Chinese, Indonesians, Vietnamese, and as a manager, she's trying to make sure that everybody gets the voice, their opinions. Everybody gets respected. Everybody gives certain amount of respect to everyone. In a multicultural world, people accept and embrace the differences of others into their lives. I believe it's harmonious. Have you seen this company called the United Colors of Benetton? I think that's really just wonderful to really have a lot of people working together for a common goal. One of the most admirable companies out there is Google. Google, they hire people from all around the world, and they are treated equals. And that is simply an amazing experience to be part of an organization where the colors of your skin or the places where you come from doesn't really matter. Let's talk about multiculturalism. So, what language do you speak? What is your religion? What holidays do you celebrate? I am glad that in the Philippines we get to celebrate the Chinese New Year, and then we get to celebrate Ramadan as well. And then, of course, Christians get to celebrate the Holy Week, or, well, we get to observe the Holy Week and celebrate Christmas. What is your racial identification? What is your ethnic identity? Here in the Cordilleras alone, the region in the Philippines where I live, for those who are not from the Philippines, we are group of people with different ethnic backgrounds, and we're trying to live harmoniously in one beautiful place such as the Cordillera and the city of Baguio. What is your culture? Culture is that which shapes up, which shapes people. That is our identity, that is our influence, our behavior. Culture is our way of being. More specifically, it refers to the shared language, beliefs, values, the norms, the behaviors, even the material objects that are passed down from one generation to the next. So this is multiculturalism. Each race encompasses a multiculture of different ethnic groups. An ethnic group, on the other hand, refers to people who are closely related to each other through characteristics such as culture, language, and religion. And we get to observe that here in the Cordillera, especially during the Panagbenga season. Prior to the pandemic, we get to experience the Panagbenga and its wondrous forms where tribes and people of the Cordilleras gather together and showcase their traditions and their costumes and music and dances. All right, so let me now relate this topic to what sociologist Dr. Caleb Rosado, he's the one who specializes in diversity and multiculturalism. He describes 7 important actions involved in the definition of multiculturalism. So, number one is recognition, okay, of the abundant diversity of cultures. One organization should be able to recognize the abundance of diversity in their cultures. There has to have a certain amount of respect when it comes to acknowledging these differences. Speaking of acknowledging, the validity of different cultural expressions and contributions has to be acknowledged. The value, we have to value each culture, encouraging the contribution of the diverse groups, empowerment, empowering people through strengthening themselves and others to achieve their maximum potential, and of course, the most important of all is celebrating rather than just tolerating the differences. All right, it's also very important that we celebrate these differences. That's why I appreciate organizations that encourage their employees to promote Filipino cultures. I've have experienced cruising through Holland America Cruise Lines, and every time they allow their employees to showcase their cultures through a presentation that their guests, thousands of guests, gets to see. Like there's a Filipino culture presentation, there's an Indonesian cultural presentation, and no matter what the language they use to sing, to recite the poem or about the drama, people from other cultures get to appreciate the way they sing, the way they perform, etc. So kudos to Holland America Cruise Lines for bringing together cultural understanding and embracing the diversity of the people working together. Now, is cultural diversity a good thing? If you're gonna ask me if it's a good thing, that's why. Wherefore is cultural diversity. Okay, so culture is the lens with which we evaluate everything around us. If we are immersed in a culture that is unlike our own, we may experience culture shock, which is normal, which is natural. Some of the most amazing experiences is getting a culture shock and become disoriented. We come in contact with a fundamentally different culture. People naturally use their own culture as the standard to judge other cultures, just like what I've said a while ago. Something that is completely different than yours, you get to judge, all right? You get to already examine that that is unacceptable. Simply because it's not part of your culture, that doesn't mean that it is unacceptable. You pass judgment, okay, to those people who discriminate against you. Cultural diversity is important because our country, workplaces, and schools increasingly consist of various cultural, racial, and ethnic groups. At St. Louis University, right now, I teach the Asian management subject. I have one Chinese student. Last semester, I had two Chinese students. Before that, I had a student, I remember, Pacific. He's from Rwanda, and then a couple were from Nigeria. It's an amazing experience because the Filipino students, when listening from the perspectives of the foreigners, they get to imbibe their culture. They get to share everything. Oh, I remember I had one Persian student before. It was really nice having him in the class, you know. So learning about other cultures help us understand different perspectives within the world in where we live, you know, the world where we live, and helps dispel negative stereotypes and personal biases about different groups. So, tanggalin na ang personal biases, tanggalin na ang stereotyping. You know, I always tell my students, we have names for everyone. You know, the Chinese, we call them Inchik, the Indians, we call them Mumbai, and so many other terms. And what if in other cultures we are called in a certain way? Well, how would we feel knowing that Filipinos, being a Filipino, is or our Filipinos are quite sensitive when it comes to that fact, you know? So, mahirap mag-discriminate kapag ikaw mismo ay sensitive, so to speak. Okay? So, cultural diversity helps us, what else? Recognize and respect ways of beings that are necessarily our own. It bridges trust. Yes, it bridges trust, it respect and understanding across cultures. Um, it makes our country more interesting, believe it or not. If you get to admire other cultures, you get to be admired as well. So respect begets respect. So therefore, understanding begets understanding. I believe that. No, so people with understanding of the diverse cultures have new ways of thinking, new knowledge. We are accepting new knowledge and different kinds of experiences. So I wish that everybody would increase their level of understanding about other cultures. It's important that we interact with people outside of our own culture. We create meaningful relationships, especially when we get to travel. Okay. Avoid imposing values on others. That's one thing that I always hear. You know, your values are your values. Other people have their values. Please do not impose your values to others. When interacting with others who may not be proficient in English, because sometimes we Filipinos tend to have this um, attitude of judging people based on their grammar, based on their ability to speak English. Always remember that being able to speak English or a particular language for that matter is not a measurement of that person's intelligence. So we have to recognize that people have limitations in English proficiency and in no way reflect their level of intellectual functioning. So tatandaan natin yan. Being able to speak your own language or your sariling language should be enough to make you proud. You know, it should not be a barrier or something that we should be bothered about. especially in this day and age. So, recognize and understand that concepts within helping profession, such as family, gender roles, spirituality, okay, emotional well-being, they vary significantly in other cultures and influence behavior. So walang magkakaparehong kultura yan, no? So let's just respect each other within the workplace, in the educational setting. We have to advocate the use of materials that are representative to the various cultures in our workplaces, no? So I really enjoy that pagka may mga company talaga and schools that encourage for other cultures to promote their culture, no? Okay, so we have to intervene in an appropriate manner when you observe that others are engaging in behaviors that show cultural insensitivity, bias, or prejudice. Parang napaka-immature, or the person has a tendency to be childish if at this point in his life, all right, or at this day and age, you still discriminate other people because of the things that we've mentioned beforehand. Wow, that is absolutely ridiculous already. So be proactive in listening, accepting, and welcoming people, and the ideas that are different from your own. Always accept that. Okay. So cultural diversity, multicultural diversity supports the idea that every person can make a unique and positive contribution to the larger society because of that, in spite of their differences. Imagine a place where diversity is recognized and respected. Imagine your workplace, imagine your company, imagine your school respecting everybody, valuing and acknowledging the cultural ideas of everyone in the organization, contributing from all groups are encouraged, where people are empowered to achieve their full potential, okay? And differences are celebrated. I really like that term, celebrating the differences rather than focusing on our similarities. Let's just celebrate our differences. Why? Diversity is the one thing that we have in common. We have to celebrate it every day. So, with that, I would like to conclude my talk, and I hope that you guys have learned a thing or two in this talk that is very, very important, especially at the day and age of globalization. So, thank you everyone for listening. Have a wonderful day. Love one another. God bless you all.
Hello there! I am Marie Gabriel Di Pasawa, but you can call me Marielle. I am a first-year psychology major student at St. Louis University, Philippines. I am pleased to share my experience in 2016 when I represented the Philippines as a student delegate in the Genesis program. I remembered looking out of the airplane window. I was already amused by how beautiful Tokyo City is from above, even more when we landed. The next day, we attended a keynote lecture on Japanese culture before proceeding with our activities. Shortly after, we had a tour of the Edo Tokyo Museum, where the development of Japanese civilization through the years was exhibited. On the second day, we went to the very famous Asakusa Temple, Tokyo's oldest temple. There, we also strolled in their over 200 meters shopping street. On the third day, we traveled from Tokyo to Shiba, Kamogawa, and had a side trip in the Tokyo Bay Aqualine and Ume Hotaru parking area. As we arrived in Kamogawa City, we are honored to meet their city mayor. He is very down-to-earth and funny, as seen in the picture. On our fourth day, we visited a local school. Also, we observed the regional industry, which is the manufacturing of kutsu bushi. On our fifth day, We had a nature experience in Oyama rice terraces. It was such a majestic scene with a cold and fresh breeze. Moreover, we had a hands-on calligraphy class. On our sixth day, we bid our goodbyes to our foster family as we head back to Tokyo. Up until this day, I am still very thankful of Oba-chan and Uji-chan for welcoming us into their home and made us feel like their own children. Also, we had a trip to the Kamogawa Sea World. Here, I get to appreciate how the Japanese preserves their environment and protect their wildlife. On our whole last day in Japan, we visited the National Museum of Emerging Science and Innovation. There we observed the cutting-edge technology of Japan, and they even met Asimov. Almost 5 years have passed. The memories are still vivid, as well as the knowledge and skills I gained before, during, and after that trip. The experience made me into a more understanding and appreciative person who is beyond willing to explore the bigger world we are all yet to explore.
I'm Paulini Color Kakas, and join me to take a trip down memory lane. Before, in my senior high school days, I've spent a lot of time with my friends, which we share ideas, thoughts, and aspirations. We ensure to make our everyday fun and worthy to look back in our future. Until there are 3 exchange students from Thailand which stays with us for 1 week. It was a fun experience to introduce our culture and let them try our Filipino hospitality. We eat together, laugh, and teach them Filipino words while enjoying the view in our way. We even played patintero, which they liked the most. And in their last days staying with us, we prepared a program wherein we dance a Thai dance to let them feel they are home away from home. It was indeed the firecracking experience which made us bond. For it teaches us to accept and birth as one, and expanding your circles help you to connect towards others. It is like building a new family and creating memories together. As we journey with people, we need to consider as it is like a lesson and make the most out of it.
Kasi wala na ang bukas, sulitin natin ito na ang wakas. Kailangan na yata natin umuwi.
Not everyone knows that China is a country famous for various types of food. You can see from this map that regional differences brings about dietary differences. Today, I would like to show you the way I make hot pot, which is my favorite Chinese cuisine. Let's start.
德音。
Hello guys, this is Cheska, your mukbang host for today, and our theme for today is Indian cuisine. So Indian cuisine is the reflection of the 8,000 history of various groups and cultures that have interacted with the Indian subcontinent. For today, we're going to be tasting 10 dishes. So guys, for our first dish, we are going to be tasting biryani. So biryani is a dish that have actually originated among the Muslim groups in India. This dish is one of the most popular dish among the world. So biryani is actually a classic savory dish loaded with yogurt. The meat is usually marinated with it. In our case, we're going to be eating the chicken biryani. So biryani is often cooked with caramelized onion, variety of herbs, and a lot more. So now we're going to be tasting the biryani. And in addition, guys, biryani is often eaten with the Indian sauce. So now we're going to be tasting it. Okay. So the dish of the biryani actually doesn't have an exact origin, but this is very popular in the countries of Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, and of course India. Okay, moving forward guys, for our next dish, we're actually going to eating the dal makhani. So this is the take of the Indians on their dish urad kital. So this dish is actually made up of mixed beans such as red beans, yellow beans. One of the primary ingredients that they use for creating dal makhani is butter, cream, and a variety of spices. So the dishes in India are often served in a thali plate. This is actually a metal plate However, in our case, it is served on a plastic tray. So, this dish is served with a lot of side dishes. In our case, we have we have here the egg curry, the sauce, so the classic Indian sauce, and then we also have here roti, rice, and then the coconut laddu for dessert. This one, we have the egg masala as our side dishes. Now we are on to our fourth dish. Our fourth dish is actually chicken masala. So chicken masala is a slow cooked grilled chicken, which is actually flavored with dry spice, Greek yogurt, and fresh tomatoes. So again, this is a very flavorful and tasty dish. As I've been mentioning a lot, so again, it is served in a thali set. In my case, the side dishes that I have is actually, again, the dal makhani. And then, I do actually have here roti. And then, we have here the coconut laddu. Ooh, wow. The chicken curry. So let's begin. Yeah, we're almost in the final stretch, guys. So for the next dish that we're going to be having is an egg masala. So this dish, the main star of this dish is actually the eggs. It is made up of boiled eggs mixed with fresh tomatoes, herbs, yogurt, and butter. So the dish that I'm going to be showing to you is quite familiar because we have been eating this with our previous dishes as it served as the side dish. Now it's going to be one of the main dish. So again, it is served on a thali set together with the coconut laddu, the al makhani, the sauce, and of course the ever popular the roti bread. So now I'm going to place the egg curry masala, the egg masala in English, sorry. So let's begin. now we are on to our fifth dish. As you can see, I have like accomplished several plates of dishes. Now we have last two. I mean 4 dishes remaining. So moving forward, we are going to start with beef masala. So the beef masala is actually very similar to the one that we tasted, which is the chicken masala, because it's actually also marinated in dry spices, yogurt, and herbs. So again, for this one, it is served again in a thali set on which we have side dishes. So let's open it. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a view. So, okay. Again, for the beef, you could clearly see here the texture of the yogurt. And of course the fresh tomatoes, it is the fresh basils as the ingredients, one of the herbs. And then for its side dish, it actually has an egg curry masala. And then I have here again a dal makhani. Of course, the roti bread that we all love. So yeah guys, that's the end of our mukbang. So again, I have to mention the dishes that we have eaten. The egg masala, the beef masala, the chicken masala, the dal makhani, and of course the butter chicken curry. So what I've learned about this Indian dish is actually they have a very rich and strong flavor. Each of dish is quite familiar if you are just new, but it has actually a different kind of a taste. And then in addition, the roti is actually perfectly blends in with this because you could actually eat it as a wrap. And for the food, in terms of the influences, you would greatly see that it has a lot of influences because it's quite similar. For me, it's quite similar for the dishes that I've tasted from the Arab dishes, and then the other dishes that I've started. For me, some dishes were quite spicy, some were actually okay, some a little bit taste new for me, quite sour, especially the white sauce that you had. The coconut laddu as a dessert. It's sweet for my taste, but it's a very nice dish to actually end the savory dishes. So again guys, I would like to thank you for watching my video. Again, this is Chaska at your service guys. Thank you and have a great day.
having a fresh seafood from the sea to your table. So let's indulge with the freshness of food with the local. abundance of seafood from the sea is really seen in the people dining table, wherein they indulge in the freshness of the food, even with the fish and seashells. So come, let's go and dine in. This is a shell called sikad, which is a local dish from here. A steamed scallop, steamed crabs, baked scallop, of course, our squid, grilled squid, soy sauce of squid, spicy squid, your buttered shrimp, and your calamares, and your mangoes. And the last one, your rice. This is a seaweed named leto. So let's eat.
Let's dig in.
Okay na. It was like this. It's so sweet. Okay. The last one is the legs. Oh. How to remove this one? Oh, see?
Ma'am,
Really good. You can taste the saltiness. It's just a steamed crab, but you can see, look how abundant it is. Shrimp. So cheesy. Next is the squid. Spicy squid. This is the squid cooked in soy. A little bit of sugar. Another cook of squid is calamari. This is very famous in Pacific because of its crunchiness, and it's easily made. Ang sarap guys. Last is this grilled squid. Look, it is stuffed with tomato, ginger, and cooked for perfection. Ang sarap din.
walang usasin.
Hindi pa yung nahugasan ha? Okay. Look at the grilled skin. Tomato, ginger, onion.
Kung paano
Yung paano papulay ng itlog. Imas-masin.
Kamutin. Kamutin mo, mamumula yan.
Done na! Maghugas na ako ng kamay.
Meron doon, may tubig dyan sa bar.
Dito na lang po.
Ikaw bahala. Kung saan ka magiging masaya.
Tapos sadya kami dun.
California's got me looking like a beach ball. Sun up in my hair, I'm rocking long beachy curls. I'm feeling like a Cali girl.
As the old saying goes, the cure for anything is salt water, sweat, tears, or the sea. Tears don't sound like much fun, and sweat can leave your muscles aching, which means the sea is the cure to lifos that beckons with a smile.
guys, I am Nina Asensi, and for today, we're going to try the different Thai cuisine here at Somtam Thai Restaurant. It is located at number 21 Donald Wood Residence here in Baguio City. So we are here in Somtam and we have ordered a lot of dishes in Thailand, and here are some of these. We have the labu, the Somtam, the Tom Yum Kung, the Pad Thai Gai, the Khao Kluk Kapi, the Kaing Kyu Lug Gai, and lastly, we have the Khao Nhu Mamawang. So, let's start. Let's taste this very delicious dishes in Thailand. So first, we're going to taste the Tom Yum Kung. This is a hot and sour soup with shrimp. As you can see, there are a lot of shrimp and spices and herbs. So you should try this, or you should try this. Visit here in Somtam Restaurant near Teachers Camp. And this is one of the popular dish in Thailand, the appetizer, lab mu. So lab mu consists of minced pork salad, string beans, cabbage, and lettuce. The lab mu can be eaten by getting a piece of the cabbage, and then you're going to put the minced pork with string beans and Thai chili, onions, and then you're going to wrap it like this. Then you put, it's like it's like in Korea, but then they use a lettuce to eat the grilled pork. Here they use cabbage and then they eat it. The lab mu is very delicious, and also you can taste the different spices and special chili of Thailand. And you know, Thailand loves to eat spicy foods, so they really use different types of herbs in their food and in their meals. Now let's try the Tom Yum Goong. So, Tom Yum Goong is a hot and sour soup with shrimp, and there are a lot of spices and herbs, and it's like the sinigang here in the Philippines, but with spices such as galangal and lemongrass. So let's give it a try. It's very delicious and spicy. We also have the kalpluk kapi, or the bagoong rice. So this is with egg, and then shrimp, small shrimps, pork, onions, so let's try. There's shredded mango, also green mango. And it is one of the popular rice in Thailand. Lots of red chilies. Well, I think almost all the dishes have red chili except this dessert, the sticky rice with mango. And it's very spicy. But I enjoyed eating this because, you know, I love spicy foods. every bite is very delicious. So let's try this one. The Kaenkyu guy, or this is in its English term is the chicken in red curry. It has a kapir leaves, this one, and gai means chicken. So Kaenkyu guy. And there is also here a red chili. So we can really say that this one is very spicy. Another spicy dish of Thailand. It's delicious and spicy. It's really spicy. It's like our curry here in the Philippines, but it's spicier. So we also have here the red Thai milk tea, which is their milk tea in Thailand, and its color is like orange, but it's red Thai milk tea. So let's taste. Oh. It's really like a milk tea. This chicken in red curry is a little bit salty also. delicious and perfect. Perfect for this kind of weather. This their tom yum goong. Did you know that tom yum is a Thai word where tom means boiling process and yum means mix. So this is a mixture of spices and shrimps and very sour and spicy. It also has a tomato in it. Tomato and lemongrass. Very delicious. It also has mushroom. I think after I eat this, I need a lot of water, cold water, because of the very weird spiciness. In the food. Well, let's taste the shrimp. This is how to peel the shrimp while using a spoon and fork. So now let's try one of the popular dish in Thailand, the Pad Thai Gai. Gai means chicken. So let's try their noodles. This one, it has crushed peanuts. I can see the crushed peanuts, and I don't know what's this one, the noodles, green onions, there are also shrimps, and lemon. It's very big. So let's try this dish. And the shrimp and also the chicken. I forgot this one. So something like this. Scrambled egg. It has a scrambled egg. Their noodles is different from ours. It's like a glass noodle, but it's smaller, and the taste is a little bit, there's a little bit of sweetness in it. Their scrambled egg is a crispy version, but this one is a scrambled egg. And this one is the dry or chicken. Very delicious. And the pad thai guy is not spicy, so it's more of sweet type of noodles. Now we're going to try this one, the som tam. It is a salad which has shredded green papaya, peanuts, and also we have here chili again, and then tomatoes. So let's try this one. Let's taste how spicy or what, or join me in knowing the level of spicy of this salad. This one is a healthy salad because papayas are considered And for the last part of our mukbang, let's try one of the popular dessert in Thailand. This is the Kauniao Mamawa, or its English term or English name or version is the sticky rice with mango, ripe mango. So let's try. Just need to put aside my plate. And it's this. It has a sweetened sauce. I think this one is a coconut milk, and then with sugar, little bit of very sweet. So get one slice of mango, then you put it on top of the sticky rice, then you're going to slice. Perfect. It also has a sesame seeds. Perfect. After all the spicy dishes, this one, the sticky rice with mango is for me one of the best. And it's just pure sweets. This one's the ripe mango with sesame seeds. Perfect. It's like I already visit Thailand. So guys, we're done and I'm full. So I really enjoy the food here. So you should come and visit Somtam Thai restaurant here at Lonerwood Residence. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Philippines. Hope you are safe and wish you good health. In celebration of this International Mukbang Day, come and join me. Let's have a mukbang. I want to introduce to you adobo. When I think of Filipino food, the first thing that comes to my mind is adobo. This dish was inspired by Spanish adobado, which is a stew of meat, vinegar, and aromatics. This has been the staple food of Filipino people, as Philippines has been colonized by the Spaniards for 333 years. Next is afritada or apritada. It is a classic tomato sauce based dish adapted from Spanish cuisine. The origin of this dish dates back during the colonial era of the Spain to the Philippines. In fact, afritada was derived from the Spanish word fritada, which means fried. One of the methods of cooking that was introduced by the Spaniards to the Filipinos is pan frying, in which minimal use of cooking oil is used to just lubricate the pan for frying. Next one is sisig. It is a famous Kapampangan recipe. It is a combination of minced pig ear, onions, sizzled to perfection. It is so well loved that Pinoys made healthier version of it, of this classic Pinoy dish, which is sisig tofu. Instead of using pork, we use tofu. Next one is dinakdakan. It is a grilled pig's head, face, ear, nape, and offal, blended with pig's brain and sometimes mayonnaise. It is very popular in the Ilocos region. For the Ilocanos, this dinakdakan is the epitome when it comes to finger food or pulutan, accompanied by beer, liquor, wine, or cocktail. And it is 100% Filipino dish. Pansit. Pansit refers to noodles and is one of the many dish influenced by trades with the Chinese early in the Philippine history. Like adobo, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of pansit variation in the Philippines, depending on the region. Pansit Batil Patong is one of the Cagayan's best. It is composed of noodles, toppings, and sauce. Here is the sauce. And lastly is the bulalo. Bulalo is said to be originated from Batangas. To this day, the province takes pride in this famous Pinoy beef recipe. The locals who invented the dish simmered the piece of bone marrow until meaty. Deep flavored broth is made. And for additional flavor, vegetables such as string beans, cabbage, and corn are added. And the rest is history. And this one is rice. Rice, as Filipinos are mostly rice eater. It is best accompanied by this Filipino dish or cuisine. So let's start the mukbang.
Recently, I got the chance to be indulged in a side of the Filipino culture that I rarely experience. I have never been out of the country, but I believe that when it comes to having a story to tell about cultural diversity, being in my home country is more than enough. This year, I went to Bohol with my aunt and cousin to visit my relatives, especially my grandmother, who I have not met for almost 10 years. First of all, we proceeded with great caution and followed all the health protocols to ensure the safety of our journey. Upon our arrival, I was met with a welcoming breeze of fresh air that is very different from my urban hometown. We were warmly greeted by my aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, and even the neighbors. Despite the language barrier, we all got along as we spent a few days together. We spent our mornings jogging along the roads and hiking up the mountains where chickens and cows peacefully rest by the sidewalks as the air is filled with the smell of burnt leaves made by the local folks with pagsisiga. I also got to try various local dishes such as a coconut drink called lamao and a type of seafood called kuhol, which are locally called balingukay and libod-libod. My cousins helped me learn Visayan words and phrases to help me catch up. One of them is the greeting called ayo, which is a shortcut for the standard remark maayong buntag, maayong adlaw, or maayong hapon, which means good morning, good day, or good afternoon. They are typically used when buying from a sari-sari store or entering someone's household. I also attended their youth fellowship and church service where I got to meet more locals. I used to be passive and nervous with crowds, but the experience helped me improve my social skills by enthusiastically conversing and participating. The signal was also not as good as what I'm used to, which made me more busy interacting with many people. We further traveled to different landscapes and stores, but the mountains and beaches in the rural areas all have one thing in common: tranquility. The environment is so peaceful and calm that I don't want to leave so soon. Reminiscing this experience made me realize that despite the variety of Filipino culture, there is always uniqueness in each of them that I will forever cherish.
Baguio, where culture and modernity coexist. With every rhythm, the heartbeat of the society is sensed, where people of different cultures become one and diversity is honored by solidarity. It is beyond doubt that Baguio possesses a bright glow that no other city can compare. The city's rich culture has made a significant contribution to its regions, which is why many people have chosen to make Baguio their home. The tranquility of the environment will inspire the mind to think further and allows the mind to look broader for a larger and a better perception of the world. It is also worth noting that the city has the best academic institutions which would provide a high-quality education. Moving to Baguio was never wrong. It is indeed a great decision. Living in a place where you can encounter different people from different culture. A great place to experience cultural diversity. Every night on my jeepney ride going home, I am awestruck by the magnificence of the mountains surrounding me. The shifting green and gold tones reflect trees, plants, and lighted houses. Every step and every move is a way towards growth. When the mind and the body meet, this is where inspiration is formed, where each sip of coffee feels like a warm hug and a nature can be seen around. Baguio is wonderful because it welcomes everybody, whether you are a resident, a traveler, or the most diverse human on planet. The people will always welcome you with these soft, embracing faces, which I believe is the most compelling cause for choosing Baguio as a place to call home.
Everyone knows that traveling is what everyone wants, and our travels are made up of great stories. On the bucket list of our family, we want to visit first the beautiful travel destinations here in the Philippines, such as in Batanes, Bohol, Boracay, and many more. One of the most memorable journeys of my life was our trip to the Ilocos region. It took us 7 hours to drive before we reached our first destination, and that was in Hidden Garden of Ilocos Sur. I have experienced nature while munching great food. Also, a lot of houseplants, herbs, and souvenirs are being sold there. Our next destination was on the street of old Spanish structures, or better known as Calle Crisologo. We rode a calesa to make our trip even more beautiful. Here we have toured all the streets that Ilocos Sur is proud of. I was amazed at the beauty of it and the skills of the tour guides because they were able to manage driving while presenting some of the historical story in every street we passed. We've also been to Bansai Watchtower and we get the chance to take some photos. At our next destination, we traveled again for more than 2 hours to reach the province of Ilocos Norte. It was late at night, so we decided to rest in a hotel first. At the hotel we stayed, the sea was just next to it. The next morning, we were able to witness how the fishermen pulled their nets to the shore. I saw the cooperation and unity of the people. On that new day, we were able to visit Paway Church, Bangi Wind Farm, Kapurpurawan Rock Formation, the Patapat Viaduct or also known as the Patapat Bridge, and at the Pagudpud, which is known as the Boracay of the North. On this trip, I'm so happy because I've been to a lot of new places and I was given the chance to try new foods. I also get the opportunity to meet a lot of people, but what makes this journey perfect is the learning I get. I learned what I should take into account whenever I go for a ride, and this should be the culture of the places I go. Because culture is the way of life of people, and culture is the way we do things.
I was born and raised in a place where the culture still prevails despite the changes of modernization. There will be fiestas held during springtime, celebration accompanied by dancing and traditional music, and practices are greatly valued. Although I watch many traditional activities, especially social ones, I am quite ashamed to say that I have barely participated in them as I do not know how to do them correctly. I was shy to ask the elders. Still, my fascination and admiration for my culture never cease. I loved how everything about it held grace, passion, beauty, history, and meaning. Thus, during my
Greetings everyone! Today I am gonna share one of the traditions of the province of Kalinga. Just to share that I am not a Kalinga and I am new to the different tribes and their cultures, although I have been living in Kalinga since birth. With the IACD MOOC, it opened up my eyes to see the beauty of their cultures. As we have been influenced by modernization, the customary factors of arranged marriage are fast fading away but not entirely. The concept of marriage is becoming liberal and modernized. Church and civil weddings are now considered as a final matrimonial ceremony in complementary to the traditional conversations. Man and woman have mutually agreed to be married after a considerable period of courtship on these days. One day, my elder brother and his partner who is from Pasil, a known tribe in Kalinga, decided to have a palanos. When both parties had set the date, we went to Pasil and attended, which is held in the place of the woman. As for me, I was wondering how this works between the union of the couple. Palanos is a customary marriage celebration between a man and a woman. It is otherwise known as the ngiling in ancient times. From what I have witnessed and understood, I was able to comprehend the point of this tradition. This rite implies that the marriage ceremony is very important to the tribe. It is an initiation rite signifying that the couple is not seen as adolescents anymore and they are accepted into the culture with full responsibilities. It is done following the rituals and practices of the tribe. Nowadays, it depends on which side will perform the palanos. It can be in the house of the woman first, followed by the palanos in the house of the man. But usually, it is always performed in the woman's house, and everybody is invited in the said celebration. The relatives of both parties will arrive to witness the marriage between the two lovers. The badong in the ancient time were known as banat. Since not everyone has the bongor or Kalinga precious beads, they can now convert the badong or banat in a form of money and it will not be lower than 1,000. There are also some cases in which the badong or banat will be given just after the palanos. There will be a short program in which the couple will sit in a place where they will be visible to all the visitors. The lalakay or old man and babakot or old woman will give some pieces of advice to the couple. Most elders will tell the couple and the people who attended the said event that blessed are the couple who listen to the advices of the wise and experienced elders. The rituals and practices in ancient times were slowly fading because of the intermarriages from different tribes and other nations. As I have mentioned earlier, marriages nowadays were influenced by modern times. Some of the young generations don't have any idea of the marriage practices before. Among the Kalingas, marriage is perceived as a social institution that binds a man and a woman. It is a human institution that legitimizes the sexual relationship of a man and a woman for a purpose of procreation and rearing of children. In Kalinga, marriage is more than a relationship between two spouses. With two spouses who have a different tribe or among a tribe, it will be an alliance between kinship groups or tribes. Thus, the procreation of children is also intended in ensuring the stability and prosperity of the tribe. In the cultural history of the people of Kalinga, the existing IKSP or the indigenous knowledge system and practices have been observed to have great
afternoon, everyone. So this year we are one with the Commission on Higher Education International Affairs staff in celebrating the 54th founding anniversary of the ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. This activity was spearheaded by the St. Louis University Erasmus Friends representatives in partnership with the School of Accountancy, Management, Computing, and Information Studies. We wish to thank Professor Lee Majors Fahilan, who enlightened us on the whys and wherefores of multicultural diversity. We are most grateful to the participants of this activity and to all of our viewers. So, an insight from this activity is called interculturalism. We go beyond a more passive acceptance and awareness of multiple cultures. We move forward through dialogue and interaction between cultures. Again, thank you and good afternoon.